Um, there we go. Here comes Josh.
Hey, I did it.
Hey, what's up, Josh?
Sorry, I hadn't checked my email.
Awesome. So glad you're here, my friend. Cody, so glad you're here. To those that are here and those that are joining us, welcome. It looks like we've got 10 participants already. We're actually going to stream this. It's recording as well. We're going to stream live. We feel like what we've got here is super valuable to get out to people. So I'm going to go ahead and push live here to Facebook. I know Facebook over the past few days has crashed the live stream. The good thing is it doesn't crash the whole episode. So we'll keep going even if the live stream doesn't play out. So give me just a sec here. We're going to get rocking and rolling. And I apologize in advance. I probably don't need to, but you might hear some little chirping voices deep in the background, although they've been warned. I can hear them right now, so you probably can as well. And that's just the reality that we all face right now, right? So it's kind of nice having them around, but hopefully they don't get too distracting. Hopefully we don't have any meltdowns.
From you or from your kids?
Either one is a total possibility, Josh. Either one. All right, okay. And Facebook Live is in progress, almost happening. All right, and I believe we are live. Excited to have those that are tuning in here. Excited about the content that we have for you. I'm actually really excited about the times in which we live. I know that sounds terrible. I don't mean that in any sense that I'm sad for, or that I'm not sad for, and my heart doesn't go out to those that are suffering. It absolutely does. But I also think it's a great reset for all of us to recognize really what's truly important and make some decisions about the life that we live and the business that we own to make it more purposeful. And so really what you're going to get from this webinar today is an entirely different perspective on what's happening, right? A lot of us are spending time on the news, hearing the updates, and they aren't very good updates, right? I just heard that the death toll in the US just surpassed 4,000. I won't share any more news updates because I know that's not good news. That's horrific and terrible and sad. I do want to invite you to join us though, right? To where your mind is not there, to where your mind is not, in New York right now or in Italy right now. I want you to really be with us because the reality is that we and the world need you to lead. We need people who can step up and offer help and compassion and assistance like never before. And I believe that the real estate agent is a true leader in our society and has the potential to be. And so this is going to be designed to really help you step into that and help you recognize how you can, right now, step up into being the person that the world needs you to be, that your clients need you to be. So Josh and Cody, I don't know if you guys have anything else that you want to share in addition to that. But that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with you just on the point of leadership. And I think this is also a big opportunity for all of us to relearn self-leadership, right? Before you can ever lead others, you have to lead yourself. And right now, we've recognized what a big vacuum of leadership there is, what a lack of leadership there is around us. I don't want to comment on that too much, but so then we wake up and we're like, what do I even do today? I don't drive into my office. I used to do that. What order do I do things in? And so it starts with saying, wait, I need to lead myself. And to say, leaders always do this. They have a vision, right? And then from that vision, they work back. That's what we're going to be redoing a little bit today. Work backwards to an action plan and then help their people execute on the action plan. Well, you've got to do the same thing with yourself first before you do this for your people, which may be like employees or other agents in your office. And before you do it with your clients. We've always been doing this, been leading our clients, and then also being leaders in our families, our communities, our neighborhoods, lots of cool leadership opportunities.
Love it, Josh. Cody, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. The one thing that I would say is times of stress and emergencies and unknown times that we're in right now, they make little teeny cracks really big, right? It's like when you have a teeny tiny crack in your window and then it gets super cold outside and that crack just grows. This is that same kind of time that we're in. So like any little cracks or anything that's working inefficiently or anything that is that was kind of maybe cobbled together when things are good, those things break down very easily and very quickly, and the cracks get really big in times like this. So I think we're all seeing where in our businesses we have these big cracks, right? Mm-hmm. And it's made all of those little teeny hairline cracks really big and really apparent, and now we can see them all, which in some ways is a good thing, because now we can look at those and say, okay, right, how do I fix this in this time of stress so that when we get through this, man, am I going to be so much better off going forward, right? And so I think that our goal today is to help people start to fill in those cracks and create a plan for creating a cohesive plan for filling those cracks in and having a really solid business plan and foundation going forward, right? Like for those of us who maybe weren't that great with keeping a consistent communication with our database, we're like really feeling it right now, right? And that is basically the one place that most of us have left to try and get business right now. And so I just think we need to get that working really strongly for us, and that will pay off, for years down the road.
Yeah, great point, Cody. I'll also add in that just because we have a pending recession doesn't mean that you need to participate in it, right? Everybody's thinking at this point right now that, okay, everything's changed, the world has changed. That means I have to change my goals. Maybe you showed up to this thinking like, okay, how much do I need to reduce my goals moving into this year? I don't know that that's necessarily the case. What we want to encourage you, like the different way we want you to think about this is that, yes, you need to change your plan 100%, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that your goals need to change. We're going to walk through the business plan that we created with many of you earlier this year, and we're going to help you to really identify what parts of the plan need to change so that the goal and the reason behind the goal can remain untouched. That's our purpose really, is to deliver that message for you and give you some at the end of this, right? When we get to the end of this business plan that we're going to walk through, we get into the how, right? So we start with the why, then we go to the what, and then we get to the how. The how is going to change the most. And we're fortunate to have I'm fortunate to have two guys accompanying me today, Cody, who specializes in helping people really connect with their database on a very consistent level, and Josh, who has put together some amazing tools to help like agents really function at a high level virtually. So we're going to get to that. So please stay tuned to that portion of today's webinar. That's what we're going to be getting to. But let's dive into this, guys. Is that at the very top of this business plan sheet that we put together was like your personal plan, right? Your big why, your 10-year, your 5-year, your 1-year goals. My belief is that you need to be revisiting this probably more now than you ever have before. Because it's that why that's actually going to get you out of a funk. It's going to get you out of what the news is saying, and it's going to bring you back to your purpose and to the reason why we need to change our plan, the reason why we need to not hibernate in Netflix land for the next 60 days, and why we need to still be very effective for our business and for our family and for our community. Going back and revisiting that is going to be critical. What would you guys add to that as far as maybe even a tactical as to how you might really more deeply connect with your why, or any thoughts around why that's important now?
Well, I can just tell you what I personally do. Every morning, the first thing I do before I check my email is I review my big why, all of my goals, and I review my monthly and my weekly goals as well. So I have a 411, which if you have read The One Thing or a KW agent, you know what the 411 is. It's basically like kind of a one-page goal sheet. And I review that every day, you know, so that I'm always very clear on what it is that I am working on. And that's really what I do to make this, you know, to keep this front and center for me.
Yeah. You know, honestly, Justin, I think discovering your big why got super easy this last couple of weeks. Like, it used to be some people always had like this existential crisis over what their big why is. Guess what? When everything gets taken away, right? When your house is on fire, whatever you grab to carry out of the house, that's your big why. That's what you care about most, right? And so, like, if you grab your kids, that's your big why, right? If you grab your dog, that's your big why. If you grab your, you know, car keys, like, so as the world has been in some ways, and I know a lot of us aren't in actual like immediate danger, but there's been these things. It's like, my freedom has been taken away to some extent. This has been taken away. This has been taken away. And it's like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is what matters. You know, now that a lot of us have gotten to the other side of the boredom of the quarantine, you start to get to like, well, what do I want to do with my time now? Right? Like, all of a sudden we in our household started doing art. Like, we started painting and drawing. We're terrible at it so far, but we're getting good, right? And we realized, oh, this is actually part of who we want to be. So look at where you actually are spending your time right now. This has been this is one of those other like blessings in disguise that all of us have, is you learned real quick what was important.
Man, that's so profound, Josh. You think about it, your health, your family, your purpose in life, like all of a sudden it starts to get really clear. And it's probably a great time to go back and revisit to make sure that the things that you have in your personal plan, your 10-year, your 5-year, and your 1-year goals actually are things like Josh told us, are stuff that you'd actually grab if your house is on fire, right?
Yeah.
It's been a great reminder. That's awesome insight, Josh. Super powerful.
I'd love to hear from people in the chat what if their big why's been clarified over the past couple of weeks and what that is for them. If everybody, you should all have access to chat. I'd love people to just type in the message box, what their big why has become or what they've realized is most important to them.
Perfect.
Don't be shy, people. Cool. Well, we'll watch those to come in and we'll share them if anybody shares, but.
That sounds great. All right. Yeah. While those are coming in, let's talk about work schedule, right? That's the next thing on our list, is that we identified through this business plan actually, we got a few comments here. Let me hold tight real quick. We've got Pam Slaughter that spoke up. We got Chris Mers, to provide for my family, Chris says. Love that, Chris. Yeah, you start to realize like, okay, we need to eat, we need a place, like we need food, we need shelter, we need clothing, like we need like healthcare. Like, that's awesome. Any other thoughts on that, Chris? Feel free to expound. Pamela says, definitely family, legacy. Oh, wow. And service to my community. Isn't that interesting? I love that, Pamela, that you shared that. Yeah. Like how am I going to be remembered, right? Should something happen to me, like how am I going to be remembered? Or can I really be of service to my community at a time that's needed? Love that. We got Camion here. I'm actually really questioning what my most aligned purpose and calling is and how to show up and help people at a higher level. Interesting.
Yeah, that's been one thing that I've noticed as we've been in the spot the past couple of weeks, is I've been really thinking about like, what are the things that I know how to do, or the skills that I have that people don't have right now, right? I'm pretty tech savvy. I know a lot about how technology works and integrates online, and we are living in a time now more than ever where technology is becoming how we run our business. And so I've been, doing everything I can to share that knowledge with other people and make their lives easier, right? Make it easier for them to run their business and to stay connected to the people that are most important to them.
It is interesting when you start to hear like what's an essential service and what's not, right? The government has kind of come out and said, okay, this stuff's essential, this stuff's not. And I think that we can probably take that same concept and ask, in the eyes of our customers, what would be an essential service and what would not be, right? And how do all of us align ourselves with such an offering that people say, yeah, that's something that I have to have, right? And for others, it might not be the case, right? Like, for example, Josh, I know you're an amazing business coach. And some people might say, I've never had a business coach. That definitely wouldn't be essential. Whereas others are saying, I need a business coach now more than ever. Like my mindset is all over the place, right? That is 100% essential.
Yeah. I mean, it is really interesting, people's response to that. But yeah, a lot of my clients right now are going, these last 3 weeks have been some of the most valuable coaching we've had, because they're in the firestorm of their business and all the changes, and your coach is separated from that. They're not trying to figure out, right? They're able to help you think creatively, help you execute on a plan, and not get caught up in your stories about what's happening, right? Like, so much of the way that people are going to succeed through all of this is to define reality, is to get really clear about what's real and what's the story they're telling about what's happening.
Interesting. Yeah, there is a difference, isn't there?
Absolutely. Big difference.
Well, I think that's a point that I wanted to make earlier, is that, Viktor Frankl learned in the worst of circumstances, right? Jewish Holocaust, that at any given time, you always have a choice. And I think right now our situation is nowhere near that, right? And maybe some that are living in certain parts of the world who are ill, maybe they would beg to differ. But I would say for those of us that are on this webinar today, like the reality is we're not, like things are not that bad. And we have a choice as to what we're going to do about it. And to your point, Josh, just being sure that you keep that mindset, it becomes very critical to be sure that you're thinking properly and grounded with your actual situation, not the worst of other people's situations right now.
Yeah. Well, and I'll give you a quick example, Justin. One of my coaching clients in Idaho, she called me and she's like, my whole business is based on client events and business networking events. And she goes, my business plan is ruined for the year. I said, well, hold on just a second. And I said, well, what does it look like for you to do, they had a women's business leaders meeting that was canceled last week. And I said, what happens if you take the lead? You go from being just one of the members to actually being the leader of this and lead it. Well, she got off the phone a couple hours ago with a woman who owns a coffee shop that is essentially out of business right now. And she set up, they're going to have 40 women business leaders. This coffee shop owner is going to mobile deliver all 40 coffees to these business leader women, and they're going to still have their mastermind and their panel discussion. And they're going to keep this coffee shop in business in their small town as a result of it, because she decided to be a leader in that situation and to think a little bit differently about her business. And we did all that in 10 minutes of our 30-minute coaching call.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. But like, there's this concept that like, I can't do anything, like my hands are tied. We get creative. In fact, I do a top agent mastermind, that I host quarterly, and we canceled it. And I just reached out to them. I'm like, why are we doing that? We've got Zoom. And so this same board of directors will get together here this next week. And it's inspired when you start to think differently, right? You start to realize that all of a sudden you can become not just a participant, but a bigger solution than you were before. I think that's an amazing, powerful example, Josh. Thanks for sharing that. I want to point out Chris's comments here, going through the first shift in my career so far. And it makes me realize how important it is to continue to make those contacts every day, maybe even doubling down the amount. Oh, Chris, we're going to get to that, buddy. Love that you're sharing that. To see my business continue to grow, which in turn allows my family to be in good, comfortable space. People still need to buy and sell. We just need to find those people. Boy, that's profound. I hope that's resonating with everybody. One thing I love about what Cody does, right? Like you've got a little more time on your hands now. And what a lot of people will do is that they'll try and go write their own code to build their own websites, to create a CRM that will then stay in contact with their people. I don't recommend that you do that. I think you need to double down on what Chris is saying here, which is double down on what you are brilliant at, which is contacting your people, like being a human being, serving people. But yes, use this time to go find the very best resources out there to go get that stuff in order. I finally just got my CRM fully functioning. I'm getting emails back from clients saying, hey, Justin, I got this great email from you. And I'm like, oh, geez, the first one in forever. And it's kind of embarrassing that it took me this long. But hey, sometimes, you do what you can. And I would highly recommend that that you start to think that way. Cody, share with us what you brought here on the screen. This looks interesting.
So to reiterate what Chris said is people still need to buy and sell. We just need to find those people. I want to show you, this is, we're in Portland, obviously. So these are stats from the local Portland market here. But week 13, which was last week, 709 homes were listed. 469 homes went pending, and 467 homes sold. While Oregon was in basically a shelter in place, right? They're not calling it that, but it's basically what it is. So I just want to reiterate, like, there is still business to be had, right? Like, we still had 709 people decide in this time that we're in to put their house on the market. We still had 469 people decide to pull the trigger on a home that was on the market. And we still had 467 homes that were in escrow close. So business is still happening.
Well, more to that, Cody, by the way, you've been publishing these on Facebook every few days, and I love them. I've been using these like in every one of my coaching calls, and having my clients do the same thing in their market areas. But just look at the one you have up there right now. Homes sold in the week by the number. Wait a minute, that's more homes than sold in week 8, which was February.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So here's the deal. This is the way I think about real estate. You've been to the airport where there's the moving sidewalk, right? And real estate in the winter is like walking in the normal sidewalk. But then what happens is that in the summer, we all jump on a moving sidewalk. And we think we're going faster because we're faster. We're not. We're walking the same speed. We just benefit from the market. Well, all that happened this last few weeks is that we went back to walking on a regular sidewalk. Look at these numbers. These are all this is wintertime numbers. Transactions are still happening. Now, if you have a business that's a little too slanted toward the summer season, you got to get your house in order, right? But if you're one of those agents who goes, no, I do decent business in the winter. Okay, great. Now you may have to do what Chris said, which is going to be doubling down. You're going to have to shovel twice as much dirt to get half as much gold. And that's okay. Like, that's just reality. But I love these numbers, Cody, because you're actually showing us what's really happening and not the story we're all telling ourselves about what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think it points out, to Cody's point earlier, which is like, this is a great opportunity to realize, like, where are the cracks in your business, right? This is like the tide's gone out, who's wearing shorts and who wasn't. And that just because you weren't wearing shorts doesn't mean your life's over. It just means the fact you got to go get some shorts and quickly, right? So fix the problem, right? Fix the problem, and don't dwell on it. So let's jump back, Cody, to the worksheet. So the next part of this is all about your working days, right? So for those that participated in our business planning session this past fall, we talked about working days per week. I want to make a case here is that I get that many of you are working at home with children. I get it as well, right? I got 6 of them for those that didn't know, and they're all being homeschooled now. And right now they're actually taped to a chair with duct tape over their mouth. Just kidding. But they're like, we have to make some accommodations. It's not always this quiet, right? I have spurts of time where I know I'm either doing a video or I'm having a conversation with a client, or I'll go out and sit in the car. Okay. But you've got to carve out some time to actually have a work day. And if you don't, then just expect that you're not going to get paid 60 to 90 days from now. Okay. And if you're concerned about, what do I say? I can't be calling people about real estate right now. These numbers prove that people still need you. Okay. We'll get more into that later, but I do want to make a case is that just because you open your computer and responded to some emails does not mean that that's a work day. Like, as Chris mentioned, now more than ever, you're probably going to need to be making a lot more proactive calls. And just so you know, Verizon and AT&T are saying that more people are talking on the phone now than even at the height of the best Mother's Day that they had. Like, people are answering the phone. People want human-to-human contact because they're not getting it. And so if you want to connect with people, now's a great time to do it by phone. And you don't have to say, are you ready to buy or sell? You can say, and Cody, you taught me these 3 questions. How are you? How is your family? And the most important, like, is there anything I can do for you? Right? And we're not talking about real estate. It might be, but it doesn't mean that it has to be. Okay. So again, don't get caught up in the fact that nobody needs you right now. Everybody needs you right now. Some people need you with real estate. So go to work, get up, get dressed. Like, believe it or not, I actually don't have on like shorts and like tennis shoes. No offense to those that do. But for me, it signals to me and to my family that like, this is a work day for dad. Like, I'm working. Yep. And so I think that's super healthy to like actually get up, get showered, brush your teeth, and treat this like a real day. Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, my son came out with a tie and fedora on yesterday. So I decided maybe I need to start, dress it up a little bit for work. And so I'm going to start doing work clothes Wednesday. It's like the opposite of casual Friday. What you need to do, I've been working from home for 2 years now. And what I realized was one of the most important things was to define what qualifies as a work day. Like, what are the tasks? Because we used to say, well, work is when I drive to the office. And then the office told you what to do, right? Like, not a person tells you what to do, but your office environment had a set of activities that went with it, right? First, you walked over to the kitchen and you grabbed your coffee, and then you walked and you opened up your computer and you did whatever was next, and you just followed a rhythm. And you may not have that when you're working on a TV tray in the corner of the living room, right? So instead, get out a piece of paper today and write down, these are the 3 activities that qualify as work. And what Justin said is 100% true. Checking your email is not one of them, right? It is, today I'm going to proactively reach out to 10 people from my database and ask them the 3 questions that Cody taught us. Like, how are you? How's your family? Right? Is there anything I can do for you? Then I'm going to post 1 interesting video on social media. And then third, I'm going to go meet 5 of my neighbors from a safe 6-foot distance and ask them the same 3 questions that Cody suggested, right? Like, okay, that's now my work. That's my job. Yeah. And do those things every day.
I think that's super important. For me, I literally have a list of like, these are the things that I do every day that qualifies as work. And if I get those things done, right, then I give myself permission to take a break, go on a walk, do other busy work, right? But I'm not mistaking busy work for productive work, which is really, really easy to lull yourself into a false sense of productivity when you're at home, when you're blending work and home together like this. So I totally agree. And the other thing is, like, work expands to fill the space available. So if you give yourself a 3-hour window in the morning and a 3-hour window in the afternoon, or a 3-hour window in the morning and a 2-hour window in the afternoon to get everything done that you need to get done, and you're clear on what that needs to be, then that's a successful work day. It doesn't have to be the standard, I'm working 8 hours a day, like maybe you normally would. And maybe you're not working 5 days a week either, right? It just means that you need to be much more focused and work much more clearly in the time that you are spending. Pretend that you're going on vacation, right? We are all super productive right before we go on vacation because we are focused and we know exactly what needs to happen so that we can go do this other thing that is unplugged. And I think that we need to, the more that we can bring that mindset into this time that we're living in right now, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah, profound, guys.
Justin, you probably learned this with homeschooling, right? You go, how is it that my kids go to school for 7 hours a day, but they're actually able to finish their homeschool in like 3 hours? I think I'm hoping a lot of people learn that they have managed to stuff a 5-hour workday into 8 to 10 hours until recently. And it's like, you actually can get your job done. Most knowledge workers, of which real estate agents are one, right? In a service industry that's mostly about information, can do their job in about 4 or 5 hours a day.
Powerful. Yeah. Such great stuff, you guys. I would also encourage you to think about this mindset. Some people who felt like maybe they had certain projects that they have always wanted to get to, like, or this concept of I can't catch up with this person. He owns this neighborhood. I hear that all the time. Oh, they own Murray Hill. They own this. And I'm like, no, literally, if I pulled the deeds, my title company pulled up the deeds, they would not own Murray Hill, right? Like that's a mindset. And the reality is most people right now it's the middle of a race, and most people have decided to sit down for a lap. Are you going to sit down with them? Or are you going to like actually accelerate your business right now? Now, I'm also a strong believer that it's always like a two-man race. It's you and your better self, and you're always trying to beat that better self. But please know that there's an opportunity right now for you to get ahead like you've never had before. And don't waste it, right? Because things will come back. This will pass, and you'll be like, man, I just wish I had some time to work on my business. Whereas before I was always so busy working in my business. Like, take advantage of this time. It's so unique, and it can be very special if you treat it correctly.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. So let's move into the business plan portion of this, right? We had holidays listed out here. Be sure that you don't have like 60 of those here over the next few days, over the next couple of months. Business plan, okay? Expenses. I would encourage you to think. So we had everybody list out very specific expenses, okay? I would encourage you to go in and ask the question, is this going to help me connect with my best referral sources now? Is this going to help me to keep my mindset to where I'm going to be doing the work that's going to provide the best return for my family? If it is, keep it, right? If it's like, no, that was just kind of nice and kind of fun, then I would not keep it. But if it's like, this is going to help me keep in contact and be of benefit to my best clients and my best sources of business, then I would recommend that stay. Do you guys have any other insight on, at this time, which people should be making like large and drastic and quick cuts to the budget? What other advice would you have as far as what stays and what goes?
The clients that I talk to who have been in the business the longest, who are by most people's definitions quite successful, and who run their business primarily by referral, all of them tell me times like these are the times when you double down on the expenses that are working for you, and you get rid of everything that's not, but you don't cancel all of your marketing, right? I've actually had very few clients. I've had no clients completely cancel on me, and I've only had a couple of clients downgrade some of their services. And that's because they recognize the importance of what we're doing to help them stay in front of their database at a time when that is more important than ever. Yeah. So I would just remind everybody, when you're thinking about cutting expenses, one of my clients literally told me, she said, I'm going to cut as much from my personal budget before I'm going to cut from my business budget, because my business budget is going to feed my personal budget.
Yeah. I think it's about, it's about smart evaluation of every one of your tools, right? Yep. Of every one of your expenses. And you say, what is my ROI? So your fact is that, your MLS dues, that's like you're required to do business.
Those are sunk costs. You can't.
Yeah, you can't change those, right? So there's fixed expenses like that. But then you've got a lot of these variable expenses, and anything that goes under marketing, I'm with Cody. It's like, don't just indiscriminately cut it because you go, well, that is not a luxury at all in your business. Marketing is not a luxury at all, because the fact is we need to step up the conversation. Marketing is about communicating your message through various mediums to the people that you want to do business with, right? And you can't, if you cut that off, you're cutting off, you might as well cancel your phone. You're going to cancel your phone today, right? No, why? You would never do that because, well, I need my phone in order to call my sphere. Yeah, you also need to stay in communication with your sphere. In fact, I would say your marketing message becomes really important right now in thinking through, like the marketing message from a month ago is not the same marketing message as today. We've shifted from the people who want to buy or sell a house to the people who need to buy or sell a house, right? And it's just a different conversation, and that's okay. At the same time, if you have a marketing tool, some kind of thing that you've been paying for it and you've never gotten a deal from it, you've never gotten a return from it, it's a candidate for, for reduction.
Yep.
Great stuff. All right, let's move into the profit and loss. Okay, that's kind of what we've just gone through. You should be able to really kind of recognize your percentages and kind of see where you stand. In our last planning session, we recommended you look at the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. They give very specific percentages as to where you should be. And the book Shift is a great follow-up to that in times like this, where you can really be looking at how you can be cutting and to bulletproof your transactions to where you are certain to close the deals that you have. So great kind of reference points there. Let's move into the action plan here. Okay, so percent of your business from listings, percent of your business from buyers. Cody and Josh, do you foresee that changing at all? Any change in strategy as to, I mean, obviously it varies per agent, but I see inventory getting lower, right? And I do see some people rushing to market because they've been thinking about selling their house and they're realizing like, you know what, we probably ought to get moving on that sooner than later. I also think that there's a lot of people spending times in homes that they don't love right now. And that it's like, people are going to be like, this was just what we needed to realize. Like, if I'm going to be quarantined, I don't want to be quarantined here. Are there any other trends that you guys are seeing that would cause one to really want to focus on listings or buyers at this time?
Not necessarily, but one thing that I want to mention is these marketing expenses up here, or the marketing actions that you take, have a direct influence on these numbers down here. Okay, so the conversations that you have with people, the calls that you make, the information that you provide, right? The expertise that you share with your clients is going to greatly influence these numbers that you have down here, because you as the expert are you are the person that your clients are turning to for that expert advice, and the information that you share with them will influence whether or not they choose to list or buy. And we are getting fed so much information from so many different sources. It's even more important now than ever that your consistent communication with your database and sharing them factual info and sharing them your professional advice, not your neighbor's personal anecdotal advice,
right,
going to influence this information down here. So when we say that it's important for you to make your calls and stay consistent in your marketing, the reason is because it is going to be the effect that is going to change how many listings you close and how many buyers you close this year. The people who are not listing and buying right now are the people who don't have a compelling enough reason to, and who were maybe just going to do it because they felt like it and not because they needed to. So, but what that means is there's still plenty of people in your database who need to. And these numbers are going to be made up of the people in your database who have a need to buy and sell. And the people who need to buy and sell are the people who need your expertise now more than ever.
Yeah, great point, Cody, is that now a skill-based realtor stands out more than ever before. A skill-based coach, a skill-based marketing expert, a skill-based title and escrow, like all of us are having the opportunity to, as cream, rise to the top, because those that weren't serious, that weren't really regularly improving their game and the value they're offering their clients aren't going to make it, right? That, like, they're not going to be valuable and helpful enough to lead their clients, which is going to open an opportunity for you. I believe that there's agents who are additionally that won't adapt to this new technology. It could be people who are, it could be people that are, that are elderly. It could be people that are not. It could be young agents that just don't want to adapt to the new reality. So there's going to be opportunity everywhere. And I agree with what Cody's saying here, is that now is your time to really be a skill-based realtor and deliver more value than others are able to, and probably what you ever have as well. So you're needed now. Good stuff. one point I want to make. I just left my title and escrow office. I don't go there very often right now, but I had to have some stuff added to my computer. And there was some word that there's been some changes to jumbo financing there's far fewer jumbo financing options out there, like far fewer. And so if by chance your average listing price was luxury, I would at least be thoughtful about that, to say, do I need to adjust? Do I need to adapt? I know when I was a high-end home builder and stuff started to hit the fan in 2008, 2009, I adapted, right? I started to build different homes. I started to do some remodeling projects. Know that again, we're changing the plan. We're not changing the goal, but and we also want you to be realistic about what the real opportunities are, that a certain pool of buy and sell opportunities may not be there. That doesn't mean you still can't hit your goal. You just need to hit it differently, right?
Right.
So kind of keep that in mind. Okay. Any other thoughts on this before we get into the marketing plan, gentlemen?
The only thing I would say is just for moving further down to conversion rates.
Yep.
Is you be prepared that you're going to have to talk to more people to do the same number of deals. So you're going to have, you're going to have less sellers that you meet with agree to list the house, right? You're going to have you may have less listings that actually sell. And then of course the same thing with buyers. So build your plan based on more conservative numbers. If you're wrong, guess what? You make more money. But if you're right, then you stay ahead when everybody else is moving behind. And I would encourage you to take more marginal appointments. Too many real estate agents have really, really high conversion rates on listing appointments. It drives me crazy. The reason they have high conversion rates is because they only go on appointments they know they can win. Quit it. People need to hear from you right now. And guess what? You got the time, right? And you don't even have to put on pants. Like, you can do this in your pajama pants, have a very professional listing appointment with people, talk to them about the reality of selling their house. And I mean, I just went through this. Pam Slaughter, actually, who's on this call, was one of the people in my listing class. You can do this on video, just like we're doing this class you're experiencing right now.
Yeah. If this is an indicator of what can be done, right? There's all kinds of things. We'll get into that here. In fact, maybe that's a perfect segue into your marketing plan. Okay. So far we've talked about your personal plan. We've talked about your why and how you need to connect to that more than ever. We've talked about the business plan, right? Which includes looking at your expenses, a good hard look, right? Make deep cuts, make them quickly, but don't make them in things that are producing an ROI, or things that should be producing an ROI, like your sphere. And then be realistic about your conversion rates. So let's move into the marketing plan component here. The beautiful thing about this sheet is that it gives you the ability. In fact, scroll up just a little bit, Cody, or a little bit down. Right? There we go. So the way that this thing works, you'll notice that it calculates seller listing appointments needed each month. You see that's 2 on the right-hand side. New qualified buyer appointments needed each month, 2.5. It automatically, magically brings that sum right below where it says marketing plan, real estate business. Where am I going to get 4.5 appointments each month? That becomes your entire focus. Now, if you've gone back through this and revamped your plan to be sure that your conversion rates are maybe more aligned with what's happening now, then that number is likely going to adjust. And that number becomes the most important question you ask yourself every month. Because at the end of the day, like, where am I going to get these appointments? That's actually what's going to be the kind of the initial indicator that your business is moving forward, that you're filling a pipeline. Those appointments are what matters most. And I love your recommendation, Josh, is that, like, you can be having more appointments than ever before because it's a lot easier. You don't have to commute or schedule time. Everybody's home, right? Everybody's got time.
Yes.
And I would also say 2 things. Number 1, adjust your conversion rate now down 25%. Just do it already, and work under the assumption that it's going to take you 25% more effort to get the same amount of business. Just do it right now, because like Josh already mentioned, if you are better than that, great, you get more money, but at least you're putting in the additional effort that's likely going to be required. And the second thing that I would say is, we are all in this new reality together. So now more than ever is a time for you to say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I am gonna work it out. Like Chris said, he had 3 Zoom call listing appointments last week. I can guarantee you that before this happened, Chris had never had a Zoom listing appointment before. So, he had those 3 Zoom call listing appointments without having an expertise in how to actually do that.
Right.
But he learned. We are all in the same position right now. People are forgiving you more than ever for learning how to do business in a different way. So telling yourself, I don't know how to do this, well, welcome to everybody else. Welcome to everybody else's life. It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome, have a seat, right? So I just want to say those 2 things. Adjust your conversion rate down right now and be forgiving of yourself as others are going to be forgiving of you as you learn how to do your business in this new reality.
It's a great point. It would not have been okay previously in an environment like this to have a child walk in behind me and come and give me a hug, right? And I would have been mortified. I had it happen yesterday during one of my interviews. I kissed her on the head and said, "Hey, Claire, I'm in the middle of an appointment. Can you go see mom?" And I didn't think twice about it. Like everybody is understanding right now to some degree. We're all in new circumstances. So just to highlight and put an exclamation point behind what Cody said is like it's okay. Just go do it. Don't not do it because things are new and different. All right. Awesome. So let's jump into these marketing tactics. Okay. Again, this is for you to put in. Again, if you went through this exercise with us in like this past winter, then you have something in there. And that's exactly what ought to be in everybody's number 1. I don't care what kind of business you do, that if nobody that knows you personally wants to do business with you, then we probably ought to work on some other things. Like people ought to be able to at least look to you to say, look, can you help me? People around you. And if you're missing that opportunity, and some are, because they don't want to be salesy to their friends, I'm telling you, if you're a real friend and you have real estate expertise and you're not sharing with other people, I would ask, are you a real friend to them, right? They need you right now. They really do. So this is a place where then you need to go in and say, okay, what are the things that I can be doing now, right? And some of these are going to change. Like Cody, you pointed out this morning in a conversation, like going around and maybe having a traditional open house is probably not going to be the best way to do it, right? Holding client events right now, that's probably not going to happen. And maybe you have that stuff in here and you need to make an adjustment to where it doesn't mean that you exit off your list and you just hope it fixes itself. It's not going to fix itself. You've got to put something else in there that still gets you the appointments each month that you need in order to reach your goals, right?
Justin, the most important question you can ask yourself right now in this is how, right? Ask yourself how. So if you're like, oh man, I was going to do movies in the park. How do I do that? I can't do that now. Well, you know what? Like you could figure out how to do a watch party. You could figure out how to, how to ship a bag of microwave popcorn to every one of your clients and say, hey, we're doing movie night. We're not meeting together at the theater or at the park. We're doing it, right? Like just ask the question how, and see if your creative juices don't start flowing on some of the house.
Yeah. I mean, buy a movie and play it, like start a Zoom like this, share your screen and play the movie.
Right? Absolutely.
Right?
Go all like Mystery Science Theater 3000 style and like have people comment while you watch it.
Yeah, like, hey, I bought the movie we were going to watch is this. I went ahead and bought it on iTunes. I'm going to start it at 7:00. Here's the Zoom link. Grab your computer. You can shove it. You can throw it up on your TV with AirPlay, or there's tons of different ways to get stuff on your TV and just watch it, right?
Absolutely.
Or give people, send out, $5 credits or something to your top 20 clients and say, hey, I'm buying you a movie on iTunes. I'm renting you a movie on iTunes tonight. There's things that you can do. Like let's say you were going to do a movie night. Well, the cost of that movie night might be $2,000. Imagine if you just sent all of your clients a $5 gift card to iTunes so that they could rent a movie of their choice and say, hey, in lieu of the movie night that we were going to have together, here's a free movie rental on me, you know, and send that to them digitally, or go buy a bunch at the grocery store and send it with some popcorn, like you said. I mean, there's so many different ways that we can mitigate this, right? It's just about getting creative is all.
Yeah. Well, and I think, Justin, I wanted to go back to something you touched on earlier as we're talking about database, sphere of influence, and honestly, even people we don't know. Like, I think a lot of us are learning to meet our physical neighbors right now. I mean, we had a half-hour conversation from 6 feet away with our neighbors yesterday, and we had never met them before. How crazy is that? Is that people are really hungry for real conversations. And you've probably experienced this already, that right now, every phone conversation you have starts with some of the most authentic minutes you've maybe had in the last year, of just like someone actually saying to you, how are you doing? And they actually want to hear the answer. And maybe you've been vulnerable enough to say, like, we're going a little stir crazy in this house, and I'm not sure how I'm going to pay the bills next month, right? These are the types of conversations that are happening right now. And the real estate agent has a body of knowledge that people want right now. And when you're talking to people, they may just ask you, what's going on with real estate? Because, oh, by the way, this still is my biggest asset. I'm freaked out about how I'm going to pay my mortgage, and I'm asking these questions. And if this thing goes to 6 months, what does it look like? This is such a great opportunity to have real, authentic conversations like you've never had before. And I'm finding that when I ask people, how can I help you? They tell me. And then you know what else they do, Justin? They ask me, how can I help you? And I'm able to say, well, this is what I do for work, and here's a couple things that I need help for with my work, right? And a real estate agent can do the same thing, and it's not gross and it's not salesy. I have the capacity. I'm an essential service. The governor said so. The president said so. I'm essential. And I know there's people who need to move. There are people who just got laid off yesterday, and they want to move to Texas because their uncle has a business and is hiring. But they can't move until they get their house sold, and they're waiting to hear from you.
I hope that everybody really takes to heart what Josh had posed earlier, which is the things that you had on your list to generate business previously. If you legitimately can't do that without disobeying governor's orders, ask yourself the question, how could I do this? How could I still add value and make connection with people? That's why you're doing it anyway, right? Is to make connections with people, add value to them, be relevant and helpful in their life.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's never been a time when people need people to be more helpful in their lives than now, to actually care. Like the opportunity is different, but it's not gone. It's bigger. People need you now more than they needed you before. Before it was like, oh yeah, we're friends. Yeah, I'll support you. I'll go because I want to support Josh. I want to support his business. But now it's like, no, I really need. Like people are in need like they haven't been before. So don't hibernate, right? Don't say, well, I can't do that anymore, so I guess I'll just have to settle for less business, or I'll have to just be okay with it, or it'll magically correct itself. No, somebody out there's figured it out. If not you, then who, right? Figure it out. Guys, let's talk about maybe some other marketing tactics. Josh, I know you have some real expert. Let me back up really quick. Let me just make a plug here for Cody. He didn't ask that I do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Is that the biggest thing, as I talk to people like agents, or even around the country, is that the biggest thing that they wish they would have done earlier in their business is to have a very defined list of people that are their database, and to be able to systematically, regularly interact with and add value to them. What Cody's created for a very low fee is the ability to have that happen in an authentic, genuine way without you having to pull the levers and turn the wheels. That way you can go be human. You can be on the calls rather than sitting behind a CRM trying to figure out how to be sure MailChimp sends stuff out correctly. So if you don't yet know who Cody is and his company Luminary Agent, do yourself a favor and learn what it is. Now would be a perfect time to spend 15 minutes with Cody, maybe 30 tops, to get that taken care of so you can go back to being a great human. So
That's awesome.
Let's talk, Josh. I want you to kind of take the reins here for just a second, talk about outside of your sphere. Some people would think that, oh, open houses are gone, right? What are they maybe missing that kind of going back to the premise of, well, I was going to do it this way, but now maybe I can do it that way. What things can people still do to generate business that's maybe not directly with their sphere? Like, what else should they have on their marketing plan here?
Yeah, I know a lot of people lost big pieces of their current marketing plan because of the current reality. And so again, what we've been doing is asking the question, how? So quick, open house. We said, okay, you can't do an open house. How do you do a virtual open house? Well, the thing is as first it was like, okay, I'm going to do a Facebook Live and I'm in the house, but it's like, well, wait, that Facebook Live is only going to the people who are already connected to you. Like, how do you push it out further, right? So we did some sponsored links. We paid for some stuff like that. And then there was a group of agents. This is a cool idea. They got 10 of them together. They each chipped in $25. They put together a $250 Amazon gift card, right? Because people are blowing through their Amazon account right now like crazy. And they said, hey, we're all doing virtual open houses on Saturday. Put together a quick registration page for free on Eventbrite. Come to our virtual open house, right? Everybody who entered gets a raffle ticket for the $250 Amazon card. By the way, if you invite a friend to our virtual open house, you get a second raffle ticket and your friend gets a raffle ticket, right? So now we're not only reaching our people, but we're reaching their people, right? And we had people start, and then it's like follow up with them. Thanks for coming to our virtual open house. Do you have any questions about home buying or home selling right now? Do you have any real estate questions? That's a normal thing to have happen after an event. I have another agent who is in farming, is a big part, geographic farming of a neighborhood. And I said, well, wait a minute, why don't you become like the neighborhood captain right now? And yeah, it would be weird to knock on somebody's door and be like, you want to sell your house? Like, that just feels weird. But what if you knocked on the door and said, do you need anything? Do you need help? Right? Are you 90 years old and you have to stay home right now and you're freaked out to go to the grocery store? And you become the neighborhood captain, put together the list of everybody in your neighborhood who needs help and everybody in your neighborhood who's willing to offer help. Build a little shelter in front of your house and have people drop off canned goods there and say, this is you've seen the little libraries in front of people's houses? Why don't you have the little food bank in front of your house, right? And these are great ways that you can say, I'm not only the neighborhood realtor, but I want to be a great neighbor.
Yeah, you think about right now how challenging you might think being a door-to-door agent, right? Saying, hey, I'm here to, give you information on your neighborhood. But what you just shared there, Josh, is that right now you could do really creative things that really serve a genuine need. Does anybody have any personal protective equipment? Like, we're gathering this and we're taking it to places where, to old folks' homes, right? Or I just had actually some relatives of mine that live out of state. They had their kids and another family's kids draw up beautiful pictures, and they went over and they on like little sticks stuck them in the grass at a senior center community,
yes,
out in their lawn, so people look outside and they can see these messages from people. Just organizing something like that within next door, within your Facebook neighborhood group.
That's great.
Like even within your, your sphere, just say, hey, please submit all color drawings. We're going to be delivering them to, this, or posting them in the front lawns of these different retirement communities, or outside of these hospitals, saying a banner saying, thank you. Invite people to participate and step into what people need right now. And I think you will not only find yourself thinking less about all that's going wrong, you'll start to become part of everything that's going right. Is that we're really becoming a much more unified society right now, right? We're becoming people that talk and listen and care and have compassion and serve. And what a great opportunity for you to be an instigator of all of that and be a leader within that. I just gave a presentation yesterday to a group of agents around the country that was called Sales is Leadership. And I believe that wholeheartedly, that the very best salespeople in the world are leaders. And now's the time to lead. Like, it's time to step up. And so as you look through this marketing plan, I would encourage you to say, rather than like, what can I get? Like, how can I go get listings? Okay. That's going to be part of it, right? You absolutely need to be thinking that way as well. But rather, like, what can I go give to society right now that's going to put me in contact with people and allow me to serve people? And when people need help with real estate, I'm there as well, right? But until then, I'm going to be serving people with things that, you know, they need outside of real estate. And I think if you do that, if you fill your day and your mind with those things, you're going to be in a really good spot mentally. And actually your business plan is going to be really solid, because you're going to be deepening a lot of relationships right now that may or may not like transpire into real transactions until we're past this. But people that make those kind of efforts, there's a reward coming. You don't have to worry about that. Like, your monetary reward will come because that's who people want to work with, are people that act that way and lead that way.
I also want to remind people that you need to think about this in the long term. You know, I mentioned in the beginning that this situation has kind of turned some of our hairline cracks into large crevices, and that we need to start to fill those cracks and crevices in so that we have a more stable business going forward. And that's not going to happen in one phone call. So I want people to just remember that staying in touch with your database and building a relationship with somebody is something that happens over time, and it's something that happens with continued contact and continued caring. So your first phone call to somebody, if you haven't talked to somebody in your database for a while, your first phone call can be those 3 questions. And if real estate doesn't come up, that doesn't mean that that phone call wasn't worthwhile, because building the relationship is what's going to lead to you getting business. That is the most important thing. It's not whether or not you talked about real estate. It's not whether or not you got a referral, or whether or not that person needs to buy or sell. The most important thing about your phone conversations and your interactions with your database is building the relationship. And you can do that through caring, you can do it through information, you can do it through listening, but that relationship is what you're going for here. That is the most important thing. And relationships aren't created by one phone call. They're created by consistently caring and consistently contacting people over a period of time.
Amen to that, Cody. I know we have a few things that we want to give you guys for those that have hung in and listened to this. I am going to give, so those that know me well know that I do a show called the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. The last question I ask at every one of those shows is, you're a big thinker. What do you do to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to expand your own possibilities? I've gone through and curated out over 40 answers of people who have answered that question, like people like Grant Cardone, right? Big thinkers, big names, people, and just also amazing agents from our market here. And I've got a PDF that I'm going to send out to everybody that participated today and that joined us today, that I think will be a great mindset tool for you to continue to expand your possibilities in a world where maybe it feels like possibilities are shrinking when they don't have to be. So Cody, I know you had something as well.
Yeah, definitely. I wrote an email actually that gives people some really great financial resources during this time, both nationally and local in the Portland market. So if you're here and you're not in the Portland market, I still have a great list of resources for people nationally. And then also for Portland, I've got some local stuff as well. And this is just an email that you can copy and paste and send to your clients. It's been really well received by our clients that we sent it out for. So I'm just gonna give everybody a link to that Google Doc, and you can copy and share it as you like.
Awesome. And then Justin, I want to offer a complimentary coaching call. It's 30-minute coaching call. It will not be a sales call, Justin. I promised you that. It's 30 minutes of genuine coaching to anybody who wants it. you can, I'll type in how you can sign up for that. And you can just schedule it right on this site, theabundantagent.com/coaching, and you can sign up for that right now. I've got openings next week, so just let me know, and we'll do that 100% complimentary for anybody on this call.
Awesome, Josh. Appreciate it, man. Cody, both you guys, just tremendous value. I want to thank everybody who tuned in today. If this has been valuable, please go to Facebook and tag, because we've had this going live on Facebook at the same time. So if you would do us a favor and go in and just comment kind of your feedback from this event, that will really help this get out to more people, right? Facebook gives priority to those posts that have the most amount of likes, comments, shares. So if this has been valuable, again, do us a favor, jump over to Facebook on my timeline and comment, like, share. That will really help get this out to more people. Again, this has been kind of a labor of love and a purpose for us and for the real estate community and everything that the real estate community does and is going through right now. And I think how, as well as how much we want this industry to step up and help lead us through this. So gentlemen, thank you again for your amazing participation. All those for all your comments, everything you did here, guys. This has been a total blast. Hopefully there's been a ton of value that everyone's gotten from this. I know I have personally, and I look forward to interacting with you all very, very soon.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.